Imagine you are standing in the tallest and most dangerous mountains in the world. Himalaya mountains. Snow is spread everywhere. The temperature is below zero. The wind is strong. A silence so deep that even your own breathing echoes. And then suddenly on the snow you see footprints, but not ordinary. Footprints, human-like in shape, but the size, much bigger than a normal human. Your heart starts beating faster. You think, what was that? An animal? Or something else? This is the moment where the story of the Yeti begins. The 1930s and the 1940s are considered an important early period in the story of the Yeti. Because it was during this time that, for the first time, Western mountaineers and researchers began reporting such sightings in the Himalayan regions that brought the Yeti out of folklore and into serious discussion. In this era, various mountaineering expeditions in the Himalaya mountains were traveling to remote and difficult regions, especially in the border areas of Nepal and Tibet. Mountaineers claimed to have seen footprints in the snow that looked like human footprints, but their size was much larger than that of a normal human. Some reports stated that these footprints were more than 30 centimeters long. The important thing was that these footprints were not found in just one place, but were repeatedly reported in different locations during different expeditions. Additionally, in some places, the arrangement of footprints suggested that the creature was quite heavy and strongly built. Among the famous mountaineers of that time, Frank Smythe were included, who in the 1930s mentioned such large footprints in his observations near Everest. Other British and European expeditions also made similar claims, which strengthened the idea that an unknown creature might exist in the Himalayas. This image was taken approximately 75 years ago in 1951. That same year, several mountaineers set out to determine possible routes to climb Mount Everest. This group included Edmund Hillary, who, along with Tenzing Norgay, became the first to summit Mount Everest. And this man is Eric Shipton, who took the first photograph of Yeti footprints, and along with his companion Dr. Michael Ward, he saw strange footprints in Nepal's Menlung Basin. These footprints looked like ordinary human footprints. These marks were found at an altitude of about 20,000 feet, where reaching it that time was nearly impossible for humans. But their size was unusually large. Their structure also suggested that they were left by a bipedal creature. They did not have any measuring tool to measure these footprints, so they placed an ice axe next to them to show scale and took a photograph. When this image was published, it sparked a new debate in global media and scientific circles. Newspapers, scientific journals, and magazines began discussing it. It seems that the rest of the team reached these three individuals before they could explore further along that path. Later, Tom Bourdillon wrote in a letter to a friend that these footprints appeared to be coming from a secondary pass at about 19,500 feet and then descending toward a glacier. The expedition members followed these footprints for about a mile, and they also saw a place where this unknown creature had leaped across a deep crevasse. News of this expedition and these strange footprints came to light. In 1952, when Eric Shipton's book, The Mount Everest Reconnaissance Expedition, 1951, was published. Eric Shipton never clearly stated in his book or later writings what creature these footprints belonged to, but he disagreed with critics who claimed they were from bears or langur monkeys. Natural History Museum. tested this claim by making a Himalayan bear walk on sand for comparison, but the results did not match. As for Langor monkeys, according to Eric Shipton, even the largest Langor footprints are no more than 8 inches long, and at 19,000 feet, it would not even be possible for them to find food since they eat plants. Eric Shipton also had to seriously consider what was reported by Tenzing Norgay. According to him, he saw a Yeti from about 25 yards away, standing upright, about 5 feet 6 inches tall, its entire body covered with reddish-brown hair except the face, and its head was somewhat pointed. Eric Shipton acknowledged that Sherpa people who live in the region can easily distinguish between bears and langurs, so it was difficult to believe that Tenzing or any local person could mistake such animals from a distance of 25 yards. Many people traveled to the Himalayas to find out whether this creature really exists or not. Even the government of Nepal issued licenses to hunt the Yeti. The American government also issued a notice, giving guidelines for those searching for the Yeti. Many people became interested in this story of the Yeti. But the question is the Yeti real or a myth? What is its history? This is Major Sushant Singh, who was on an expedition in the Makalu region of the Himalayas. He said he saw such large footprints that could not belong to any human. When he asked his Sherpa guide, he told him that these were the footprints of a wild man living in snowy regions. Even if the world debates the existence of the Yeti, Sherpa people have no doubt about it. The Yeti has been part of their culture for centuries. The word Yeti comes from the Tibetan word Yeti, which means a rocky animal. Due to the mystery of the Yeti, many stories have been created, and along with it, many books, video games, and films have also been made. Although there are many stories about the Yeti, different regions have various traditions and tales that mention this mysterious creature. But today we will not dwell on those stories. Instead, we will focus only on the evidence that has appeared in different forms, such as footprints, traces of hands, or hair samples. After the growing claims of the Yeti's existence, many researchers and adventurers around the world entered the field to solve this mystery. This was no longer limited to rumors, but turned into organized scientific expeditions. Among them, an important name was Tom Slick. He was an American researcher and adventurer who spent much of his life searching for creatures not yet scientifically proven. He financially supported several expeditions to research the Yeti, which reached remote and difficult regions of the Himalayas. The goal of these expeditions was not just to find footprints, but also to collect possible hair or remains samples, to record statements of local people.
The Yeti. It comes down when the snow is heavy.
My brother saw the shadow near the cave just last week.
Larger than any bear I have seen.
It watches us from the fog, always watching.
And to obtain solid evidence of any unusual creature. During this time, the famous mountaineer, Edmund Hillary, also became interested in this mystery. He personally examined various claims related to the Yeti, visited local areas, met people, and observed the evidence presented for its existence, such as footprints and local stories. The expeditions of Tom Slick and the investigations of Edmund Hillary deepened the mystery rather than solving it. And to this day, there is no conclusive scientific proof about the Yeti. Despite this, expeditions in the Himalayan valleys did not stop. Researchers from different countries kept going with hope, but returned either empty-handed or with explanations pointing toward known animals. Gradually, the search for the Yeti turned from research into an obsession. A question that feels new every time, yet every answer makes it even more mysterious. Reports of large footprints continued to emerge from different parts of the world. Mostly from remote snowy regions of the Himalayas, where human access is limited and the environment itself rapidly alters evidence. Despite all these reports, evidence, photographs, and writings, no solid truth could be established, and the stories grew even stronger worldwide. Everywhere there was only one question: is it real or just a myth? But then science stepped in and began examining every claim, every mark, every story, from a new perspective. First of all, DNA tests were conducted to determine the reality of hair and remains. Then these samples were analyzed in detail. As the results came out, everything started becoming clear. Most of the samples belonged to ordinary animals, especially Himalayan brown bear. According to scientists, the structure of snow and ground can make bear footprints, sometimes look like human ones. And thus, what was once thought to be proof of a mysterious creature turned out to be a simple trick of nature. In an ancient monastery of Nepal, Pangbocha Monastery, it was claimed that a Yeti hand and scalp were preserved there. This news spread like wildfire. People considered it a major proof. Researchers went to the monastery and took a hair sample from the so-called Yeti scalp and sent it for analysis. They examined these remains carefully. The bone structure was studied. It was compared with human and animal bones, and then modern scientific tests were conducted. DNA analysis was performed. Microscopic examination was used to inspect every detail. The results were shocking. The supposed Yeti hand was actually made from human bones, while the scalp turned out to be from a common mountain animal called sero. In 2013, scientist Brian Sykes collected Yeti samples. Most samples turned out to be from common animals such as bears, horses, dogs. Research in 2017 also confirmed that all samples associated with the Yeti actually belonged to different types of bears or other animals, which means what was thought to be proof of a mysterious creature was actually a combination of misunderstanding and tradition, and thus science uncovered another mystery. But the story of the Yeti still did not end. Modern technology began examining this mystery in greater depth. Satellite imaging was used to observe remote Himalayan regions. Wildlife tracking recorded animal movements and behavior. And advanced DNA sequencing was used to analyze every sample at the finest level. But despite all efforts, no solid evidence has been found to confirm the existence of any unknown creature, the Yeti. According to some researchers, the story of the Yeti may be linked to an ancient creature called Gigantopithecus. It was a giant ape-like animal that lived in Asian forests millions of years ago. Over time, when its fossils were discovered, and the old stories were passed down through generations to generation, it is possible that reality and imagination combined to form the legend we now call the Yeti. Why do people believe in the Yeti? Because the human mind likes mystery. When we see a vague shadow in the snow, our mind immediately connects it to familiar stories. Stories heard in childhood become images stored in the heart. And then cultural beliefs make those moments feel even more real. Thus, a line forms between reality and imagination, which is never clearly visible. And perhaps that is where the Yeti lives. To this day, there is no solid scientific proof of the Yeti's existence. Yet despite this, the story has not ended. It is still alive today. The Yeti has become one of the world's most famous mysteries. It teaches us an important lesson. Not everything mysterious is real, and not every reality is always clear. Perhaps some mysteries are meant to remain mysteries forever.